following show is for entertainment purposes only and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of Empire Media LLC, its subsidiaries, affiliates, sponsors, and advertisers.
Welcome. This is the Houslander and Ferretti Hour. I am Josh Houslander. With me, as always, is the one, the only Rudy J. Ferretti. What's up, Rudy?
How is everybody today? Good. I'm glad to have you back. I know you were a little bit under the weather. I think it's been going all over the country like real quick, and some people are even getting relapses of it. So it's not been pretty. Every day I talk to somebody, somewhere in the country, and they're like, I don't even want to get out of bed. I just want to die. And I'm like, oh, you mean the same thing I had like 3 weeks ago, So
yeah, no, I know you had it a while back too.
I did.
And I'm getting over it. My voice still sounds crappy, so apologize for that, for everybody out there. But I'm all right. I'm doing good. I'm on the mend, as they say. We had kind of a weird show tonight, don't we, Rudy? But it's kind of not real video game centric. We're gonna talk about some different kind of things, some funny things. You got some crazy stories of some of your past jobs, and we're going to break into it. But first of all, let's talk about the newest news. I mean, to mention video games at least for a little bit, let's talk about the newest news. What you just did.
Oh, you mean the little square I did on Halloween or whatever?
That would be the one on Halloween.
Yeah, I'm glad I got it out of the way. I will say this. It was brutal. I didn't think I was going to do it. Again, I didn't think I was going to actually accomplish something, and I did it anyway. It required control changes. I had to go through my controller bags and stuff to find the best controller because some of the Atari controllers were really messed up, so I had to get the best possible controller I could find. And then it was just all repetitive. Once I figured out how to contain that game and figure out how to survive, it was all repetitive. And I got quite dizzy and quite tired sitting here, standing up, even drinking good water and fruits and vegetables, sitting here for 6 hours. I got to tell you, as you get older, it doesn't improve with age, no matter how good of shape you're in.
Yeah, so you had to find like an Atari controller that was kind of like loose?
Yeah, I mean, I've got them all over the house, in my room. So I've got the Atari 2600 ones. I got the third-party Atari 2600, like Gemini ones, Gemstick, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Right.
I've got ones that I modified when I was younger and not modified for turbo use or anything, guys, so don't even go there. What I did was I tried to modify one for decathlon. I have one here, and I wouldn't use it for Halloween because it wouldn't benefit me at all. What we did was we cut the joystick on the 2600 controller. Cut it.
To get a little more range of motion.
Right. We cut it in half, and then we put it back on, and we modified it so this way when you get the range of motion, it's easier with the fingers when you're doing decathlon. It's legal because, again, you're not using turbo, so all you're doing is making the stick shorter or longer. There's no, indication that that's cheating, but it doesn't matter because I'm saying it now, so it doesn't. I really don't care.
I got a question,
Mm-hmm.
Rudy, and I don't know if you know the answer, but I bet you do because you seem to know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess technically I should be the one that knows the answer to this question, but you probably do. Are you allowed to use a Sega Genesis controller to play Atari games?
People have admitted to doing it. I'm not going to say I've never done it. I've done it before, but
record attempts or just
Yeah, no, I have. And so have other people on Twin Galaxies. They've said it live. There's no indication saying that you cannot use a controller that's compatible with the machine. Again, the only thing that's illegal is turbo. If the controller fits into the system, which we know the Atari 2600 and fits a Genesis controller, and so does ColecoVision,
mm-hmm.
Why is it ill? I mean, the only difference is you're just changing the controller.
Bottom line is, too, people have asked me about this for years when it comes to controllers.
Yeah.
And I am completely of the opinion that sure, if you're using an obvious turbo setting or something like that, then that's a different story.
Right.
That can be seen in gameplay. But when someone puts if you say that the rule is you have to use a original controller from that system,
that's different.
It's really stupid because that's a method. If you make that cheating, that's a method of cheating you can never track because all you see is what's on the screen.
That's correct.
You have no idea what controller they're using. So the truth is, you shouldn't. If for that reason alone, it shouldn't be illegal. But also, I don't see why it would be illegal anyway.
Well, people use NES.
Control. Because you can use your NES Advantage.
That's right, and they do.
For Nintendo games if you want, as long as you're not using turbo stick.
Exactly.
If that's illegal.
Well, you know what's funny?
Turbo turns on and off on your NES Advantage or your NES Max.
It does. Well, no, not on the NES Max. It doesn't turn off, but it does turn off on the NES Advantage, and of course for TurboGrafx 16.
You can use it or not use it on the NES.
That's correct.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's separate buttons on that controller.
Right.
So,
and some games
Turbo.
turbo.
Like the contour of the controller, you can use it. You just don't use the turbo. So I've never had a problem with people using different controllers or even altering their controllers a little bit. Unless you're altering your zapper to make it so you shoot anywhere in the street and kill the duck. That's a different story. But even that, how do you track it?
You don't.
How do you know whether or not somebody's doing that?
You don't.
And to me, when it comes to sports, video games, Monopoly, anything out there, if you make a rule that you can't possibly check after, that you can't possibly verify whether or not it's true that they broke the rule or didn't break the rule, then it's probably a bad rule.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see a problem using a different controller.
You want a challenge? I got a challenge for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've done this too. And I know Mike Soroka has done this.
Tell me.
And I know of another guy, my cousin, Eddie Zaharsky, who some people in the industry know a little bit. I know that all three of us have done this, and others I'm sure have as well. But, as we said, the Sega Genesis controller does work with your Atari 2600 or your ColecoVision.
It sure does.
Pretty much any game out there, you can play with that. But there are a few games where you can plug in your Atari controller to your Sega Genesis. Now,
I didn't know that.
What games are there? Namely, the Sonic the Hedgehog games. Isn't the Sonic the Hedgehog games A, B, and C all do the exact same thing? All there is jump in that game. So, there's a challenge for you if you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, is beat Sonic the Hedgehog with an Atari controller.
Right. And I want to touch on something else, Josh, really quick, since we're talking about modifying and changing controllers. Guys, keep in mind, too, there's adapters made by Intellivision Lives, who's Keith Robinson himself, who's one of the creators of the Burger Time, okay? And they, Intellivision Lives or whatever.com, Keith Robinson and company, who's basically the Intellivision crew, they invented an adapter where you could use the fucking Intellivision, flashback controllers on your Intellivision 2 system. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to tell you why. The Intellivision 2 controllers fucking suck, and they're going to break, and I can't get new ones. So I'm going to modify my system and put those controllers on there. They're Intellivision controllers. It's that.
It's hard, too, when you don't want to look at people who get scores on emulators or MAME, you want it to be all the original stuff, or at least for it to count as that original score. But this old stuff is failing.
Exactly.
These old systems, truth is, they weren't made the last 40 years.
No, but they seem to.
Yeah, I mean, they do, but it's hard, though, it's getting harder and harder to find even just regular NES controllers.
Well,
and how many of those were produced?
I will intervene with that, and not to interrupt you, but Nintendo and Super Nintendo controllers, even Genesis controllers, the third-party ones, are actually still pretty easy to get. You know what's real?
But I mean the original. You're
right. They are out there too, but you know what's really bad? Really bad out of all the systems, honestly, no joke, more than anything, and you never think of it? Intellivision. It's becoming less and less common to find anything for the Intellivision. So I'm glad that they made adapters. I'm really glad, because you can't get Intellivision 2 controllers anywhere. Nobody's got them. I've looked all over the world. I cannot find them.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it, for sure.
It's weird. It's a weird system. Very weird.
No, it is. It's cool. Were you more of an Intellivision guy or an Atari guy?
No, if you recall, one of our last shows, I almost went anti-Atari because there was a guy who owned a goddamn video store that was my... I know, you're like, how the hell do I remember this? I was a kid, and I wanted the Intellivision. Everybody had more than enough money to get it for me. Make a long story short, this guy, Phil, I think his name was Phil, he owned a video store. up in Scarsdale, New York. This was when video stores were still big and popular, and you had to pay like $100 to get a fucking videotape if you wanted one. So I went up to the store, and his sister Evie said, yeah, he's going to get it for you. So when I came home one night, I was like, well, where's the Intellivision that I was promised for Christmas, Mom and Dad? Oh, well, Phil dropped it in the snow. And at the time, it was a fucking convincing story because I went outside and I saw how deep the snow was. And I said, oh, maybe he did drop it in the snow. He said he dropped it in the snow. My game was dropped in the snow. That's what happened.
That sucks.
So no, I was not an Intellivision fan because of that. And then later on, I got the Intellivision, and then same thing happened with games, by the way. I was told the same story. Well, where's the game that I asked for? I didn't say it like that because I was a little boy, but I was like, hey, where's the game, Oh, it was accidentally dropped in the snow. But it's not unrealistic, though, to think that was possible because back then when you had 3 foot of snow, a little Intellivision box could fall into the snow out of a bag, and you may not find it back then in 3 feet of snow if it was fresh.
Well, also, they weren't saying like it was dropped in the snow and then made to malfunction because of the snow. They're saying like it dropped into the snow and disappeared forever. Yeah,
like the same story that my brother Al, and it's crazy because I like fat girls, and fucking my brother Al told me, I was like, Al, where's my light bulb candy you always bring me home? You used to bring me this really cool light bulb candy home. It came in a little plastic light bulb. So he told me the fat lady jumped into the fucking truck and took all the fucking things. And me, with my vivid imagination, I see this big fat lady jumping into the back of the truck taking all the light bulb candies away, and I actually believe the story.
Jeez, dude, this show is getting stranger and stranger.
These are true stories, I swear to God, dude. Other people will tell you.
Rudy, your unbelievable stories about your childhood are always so believable. Because when you tell a story about your childhood, it almost you almost always think, oh God, that's why Rudy's like this. I mean, your childhood stories are always so crazy, and it's like, yeah, this is what built the man known as Rudy Ferretti.
Yeah.
Is these stories just you don't have video games because they fell in the snow, and you don't have candy because fat chicks robbed us, and we just, I mean, you've had quite a life, Rudy J. Ferretti.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I mean, I always got really nice little gifts and stuff from everybody. I can't complain. It's not like I was ever, starved of it. I was very, taken care of. But obviously you get greedy when you're a little boy and you're thinking, well, where's the light bulb candy today, tomorrow, the next day? So that's what happened, It was like every time he would come home every few days or so, or if he was busy working or whatever, I'd be like, well, where's the light bulb candy? So I pictured this big, 2x4 truck or whatever, fucking, and the lady jumped into the back and took all the light bulbs. I mean, his story was very convincing, by the way.
Well, at least he spared no expense on the emotionality of the story for you.
Yes.
That was nice of him. That's a good brother.
Yeah. I mean, he got me candy later.
Get over it.
Yeah, he got me candy later, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right on. He fought off all the fat chicks trying to steal candy out from under him.
Yeah, and I wasn't picturing a hot fat chick, by the way. I was picturing this short-haired, butch, 400-pound nasty woman with a sweatshirt on jumping into the back of the truck stealing all my candy. I wasn't picturing Melissa McCarthy. Yeah, it wasn't like Melissa McCarthy. I was picturing, jumping in the back, with spandex and a tight t-shirt on grabbing my fucking candy.
Through that random comment, are we to believe that you think Melissa McCarthy is hot?
Oh, yeah.
You're another. Okay, no, that's good. Good for you. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so Melissa.
I'm not going to bullshit you. Yes. Absolutely.
Right on, man. More power to you. To each their own. I'm not a Melissa McCarthy fan.
I think she's pretty funny.
She's not my cup of tea.
Well, hey,
Wise, I mean.
Well, I mean, you're probably like Amy Smart, and I don't like Amy Smart, so it's cool.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay, never mind. That's Todd Rogers' favorite.
Okay, you have to tell me now. Well, who is Amy Smart? What am I missing?
I don't know. She was in some fucking movie where a guy had to have sex in order to live. His adrenaline had to go through his heart, so he'd have to pound every woman he could find in a certain amount of minutes or something before his adrenaline would run out and he would die. It was a movie. It was some kind of motion picture. Yeah. It's the only way he could stay alive.
It's incredible that I missed that one.
Yeah, it's. I never watched the movie, by the way. I just know about it because he mentioned that he liked Amy Smart, and I knew she was in that movie. No, it's a drama action, like he would have to he'll die in a certain amount of time if he doesn't get off.
Okay.
It's the only way he can stay alive.
Rub one out or anything?
What's that?
Yes, he can't just rub one out.
I guess not. Apparently not, according to the film. No, which makes sense. He probably has to keep his heart rate up a certain amount so he doesn't die.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he can't just go on a roller coaster and rub one out?
I guess not. I mean, I never thought of something that would be pretty crazy, dude. Now I'll never go on a roller coaster again just thinking about that, because now I have to worry every time I go to an amusement park if somebody's doing that and it's going to fly off and hit one of us. Oh my God. Thanks a lot.
Wow. Yeah, that's... I wonder if there's an official phobia name. We should check one of those doctors.
Worrying about somebody jerking off on a roller coaster.
Fear of semen hitting you whilst on a roller coaster.
Well,
It could happen. I think it's a legit fear.
yeah.
Hey man, we digress big time here.
Oh, that's fine.
But, you had a topic you wanted to cover.
Yeah.
That involves an old job you had.
Yeah.
And also, I think some newer links to it, correct?
Yeah, I recently, we're talking literally now almost 21 years. And I think in October it'll be 21 years to the date. I started off in customer service /sales /quality control. That's where I started my career. And I started in a company called Crane Products in 1996. They're out of business now. So if anybody's listening, they can understand that. And if you go look it up.
What was the name of the company?
It was called Crane Products. We sold septic tank cleaning products.
Crane Products?
Yeah, Crane Products, like a crane with a K though.
Like the toilet.
Yeah, but crane with a K, not with a C. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so not that crane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right. And I started there in 96. And back then I was making a fortune because for my age, being so young, 16, 17 years old, I'm bringing in sometimes $450 a week after taxes, with sales and everything. And, so I'm working there. And this is how it was. It was basically we'd call up.
Like $1 million. For our younger viewers, that was like $1 million back then.
Dude, I would make $7 a sale on top of $5.15 an hour. So you do the math. I was making some serious dough sometimes, especially if I was making a sale per hour. Forget it.
No, you're right. I was in a similar boat. We're not going to get into mine today, but I was in a similar boat working construction.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old.
That's a lot of money.
2 years ago, and I was killing it, man. I didn't know what to do with all the money I had.
Yeah.
It was stupid. I just had so much money. None of my friends had jobs, and I just I'll just buy whatever because.
Well, yeah, of course. We blew our fucking money away on candy and video games and whatever you blew your money away on,
Yeah, that was true for most of my life. I spent most of my money on women and booze. And I wasted the rest.
Yeah, I was always frugal, about some of those things. But yeah, of course, as you get older, you got no choice. I'll tell you, so I'm working there and everything's going really well, and this was probably one of the first jobs, where I dealt with people that were a lot older than me. And of course, where I got some abuse at some times too. But at the time I was so young, I kind of laughed it off. But going back today, I would have gotten into fights with people for sure. And I'm there and I'm on the phone with the person I'm calling, like Texas, say for instance, and these fucking people, they start saying that, I'm crazy and that I need to get a real job and then this and that. And I'm young, I'm stupid. So I'm just like, whatever. I'm like, you don't know who you're talking to. I'm like, who is this on the other end anyway? They're like, well, you don't know who you're dealing with, we're going to fucking come, call the FCC on your ass. And I'm like, well, I'm not Howard Stern. I'm like, but you can do that if you'd like. I had really fun, whether I made a sale or not, I made sure I let you have it on the phone call. Whatever I had to do to make you feel like shit, whether you bought it or not. I'd tell you, I hope your fucking septic tank explodes. I'd be like, I'd lie and say I was a technician and I'd call people on Easter and fucking tell them that it would be like, yeah, I'm a septic tank technician and I saw your business reply card. You were interested in buying this product and I'm sorry to call on Easter, but I've been trying to reach you, and that's how I make sales on the holidays. People want to come through the phone and kill me, but I actually made sales on holidays like Easter, believe it or not. I got people to fucking answer the phone and I made them buy a product on Easter.
So Rudy, how long did you do this job, this profession? How long were you doing this?
I started, I think, in October of 96, and I lasted through February of 1998. On and off, I was not there, actually, the entire time. There was one time where I got fired and brought back. Another time where I quit and went back. So I was working there on and off for 2.5 years. And, they liked me. So even though they fired me once, brought me back, I quit, came back, they let me use them as a very, high job recommendation. I mean, they told me, yeah, have anybody call anytime. And when I finally left, I put them on my resume. I've had them on my resume ever since. It's where I started my career,
Very cool. So does this tie into something? Were they talking about what drudged all this up? Were they talking about this company or this or just that particular type of profession? Or
well, I went online recently, and I decided to look up the history of people complaining about the company, because the company was, man, I had no idea that the attorney generals in like 30 states got involved, and there was all kinds of lawsuits saying the product didn't work, et cetera, et cetera. I had no idea about this stuff. All I did was call you up on the phone, try to get your credit card information, and get you to do a 30-day trial or sell the product. So I went online and I started seeing like similar situations of things that happened to me on the phones with these guests. The guests. What am I saying? Friggin' phone people that I called, or whatever. And I'll tell you a couple of stories, and then that's what I saw on the internet. Same thing, because I can tell you what I saw on the internet, but it's not as funny as telling you the actual stories. So I called up one guy one night, and I went into the whole fucking spiel about the whole thing, about the septic tank cleaner. The guy was all interested, and he was like, why don't you give me your number and I'll call you back, and your name and your information. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this is Rudy, I'm the Crane Products over here in Larchmont. He's like, go ahead. And I'm like, yeah, the phone number, is, I think it was, this is crazy. I really think I remember the phone number, 914-833-1102. I think so. I think that's the fucking phone number. I know we were at One Vic or some shit like that, or One Large, I don't know, whatever. So that's what we called it. It was called One Vic or something. So anyways, I'm on the phone and everything sounds all good and I'm all excited, right? All of a sudden I hear, now motherfucker, I've got you. I got your name, I got your information, I know what fucking company you work for, and I'm gonna fucking come get you. But see, back then I didn't think about terrorism or somebody coming to shoot you or anything. I was just like, okay, this guy's a fucking nut. What's he gonna do, And you tell somebody and they'd be like, whatever, Today if that happened, you'd be on the phone with 911.
Right.
What
this guy was like, now I know who you are, I'm gonna look you up on the white pages and I'm gonna
dude, yeah.
pages. Which one is it? I don't know.
Say he was gonna come. He said he was gonna come down there, and come get us and everything. Say he was coming, I don't know if he was out of state or not. I can't remember. I had that. I had somebody. I'd be talking to them for like an hour and a half. No joke, trying to sell them something. Which is too long, by the way. I was young, but I didn't know any better. And I'd be on the phone, and all of a sudden, he would start telling me, well, let me get your information, all towards the end after I did the whole pitch, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll call you back. He's like, no, don't call back. Don't call back. I was like, oh yeah, I'll call back. Don't worry about it. And I knew he didn't want me to fucking call back, but I called back anyway later. I fucking, I just went into it with him. I played with him because he was screaming into the phone like, no, don't call back. Don't call back. I was like, oh no, I'll call back. Don't worry about it. I'll get in touch with you too. Oh yeah, no, right away. Click. Fucking call back and be like, they were like, Rudy, you called that guy, you fucking talked to him and that's how they talk too at the office. They were like, you fucking called him for an hour and fucking he told you not to call back and you told him you were going to call back. I was like, no. They were like, well, that's what he said. I was like, well, you going to believe me or are you going to believe the person on the other phone?
Well, the guy talked to you for an hour. He must be interested, right?
Right. And I wasn't going to admit to that shit. Are you kidding me? And if they caught me, they caught me. That's when I would just be like, okay, like sometimes they'd be like, easy, Rudy. They'd be like, easy. And I'd be like, what do you mean easy? I was like, he was fucking rude. Like, because we were crazy, dude. If you didn't want to buy the product, we started harassing you. We'd be like, this is all you'll ever do for just $2 a month. And the next thing you know, we'd be like, you know what? Well, if you don't want it, then, you just forget about you and your septic tank and hopefully it blows up. And we'd be like, fucking asshole. And we'd just hang the phone up and they'd be like, dude, if you slam the phone again, I'm sending you home for the night, And it was like, back then, you're a kid. You're like, whatever, send me fucking home. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to go poor because you sent me home. And that was the thing. I didn't need the job. I did the job to make my own money, But luckily I had a good mom and dad that, gave me pretty much whatever I wanted. So I was kind of spoiled. That was just icing on the cake.
Do you ever have fun with, now, the inverse, do you ever have fun with them when they call you? When the telemarketers call you?
Honestly, no, I don't do that. I actually get more mad because I was there once. I was a telemarketer, so I don't waste their time. I just get off the phone with them right away, unless it's something I'm really interested in. No, I've never actually had fun. You know where I've had fun with? Collectors, because I was also a collector once. And that's another thing I've gotten some trouble with, too, over the years. But I also did really well and made a lot of money as a collector. You know, it's kind of the same thing with Crane Products was. Crane Products, I was selling collections just like sales. Really, I'm trying to get your money, so, you know, I'm going to do what I can, you know. And
Right.
I did all kinds of crazy stuff, too. You know, with the telemarketing, you know, people would be like, you know, I don't have time right now. You know, I got things going on. I'll be like, well, you're the one watching the house, so you should know, you know, that somebody is home or not. And they'll be like, well, wait a minute, how do you know I'm watching the house? I'm like, well, you said that you're the only one that's there and nobody else is home and it's not your home or phone number. So if you're telling me so-and-so is not home, then you must be watching the house. Next thing you know, they panic and they hang the fucking phone up and they call the office back and they're like, yeah, you're rep over there, you know, and of course I trace it back to my phone and it's like, oh my God. Get pulled into the fucking office and it's like, what did you say to her? I'm like, what? Because I said she was watching the house? They're like, you don't understand. You never know who you're talking to on the other end. I'm like, look, we're not customer service representatives. I'm trying to collect money for the company. So either I do what you tell me to do or I don't do it. So it's like kind of like a catch-22, Josh.
See, I admit, I like to mess with them. I like to just kind of be a little childish, and I'm not mean. I'm not mean to them, ever, but, like, there was a run there for a while where I was just getting the home security calls. You ever get those?
Yeah, every goddamn day.
Oh my God, it's constant, right?
Yeah, and I have my own system.
Just see how long I could keep those people on the line.
Dude, I have a system.
And I mean, I would go through it. I'd just be like, I'd have them tell me everything about it. And because when they say like, "Hey, do you have a security system?" I always say yes. But then they don't ask you what kind of system you have till later. And then when they say, "Well, you know, what kind of system do you have?" I'll be like, you ever seen Aliens?
I know the movie, but I never actually watched it.
But, you know, they'll like say, they'll usually say no or yes or something. I'll be like, okay, remember in Aliens when you had like the motion detector machine gun outside the thing, so the aliens couldn't breach the central thing. I was like, well, pretty much I got that rigged up, like in my front door. So I'm pretty much safe if people walk up, you know, the machine guns just go off even if I'm sleeping. And they'll be like,
That's crazy.
really? Like, oh yeah, man, I take security really seriously. The other one I would say is, they say like, oh, you know, how many entrances do you have to the home? And I'll just be like 15. I'll be like, oh, 15, really? Like, yeah, it's a big house. It's a big house. Like, okay, do you have a system? Yeah, I got a system for sure, man, for sure. I'll be like, well, what kind of system? And I'll always be like, I have a moat, like surrounding the place. But, it's about 20 feet tall water, and there's a sea monster in there, and it protects, me and the castle.
That's crazy.
They'll just kind of, flip out for a second, and they still don't know, is this guy still a potential sale, or is he nuts, or did he just drag me along for the last 45 minutes so he could tell me he had a sea monster? Like, what's up with this dude? So I love doing that to people, too. That's always cool. Or I go through the entire security system, the entire spiel. I tell them I'm going to sign up. I tell them I'm going to do everything. And then at the very end of it, I say, hey, it's cool that I live in an apartment, right? And they'll be like, no, sir, it's not. We need you to open the home.
Yeah, and that should be the first thing they should have asked.
I was so on board.
Yeah, do you own or rent? That's the problem too. I've also gotten where I go through the whole fucking schmeal about the septic tank cleaner, and they're like, well, I'm on city sewage, which they're probably not. But they,
right.
So they lie, or they'll be like, I'll have septic tank. And then you have people that would talk about they use, Drano or Riddex or fucking, one guy was like, well, you just take a healthy shit and, you put the bacteria back into the machine. And I'm like, no, or they'd have a cesspool or whatever. I've heard different stories that the product was effective. It was defective. I took a packet home once. I didn't see any change in anything. So I really don't know. I've heard all kinds of different I've heard all kinds of different stories about the product, but also with collections, it was really funny too. I would also harass my debtors. I'd be on the phone and they wouldn't pay, and I'd be like, yeah, yes, you will, and I'm going to authorize it. Well, which check number would you like to use? And they'd be like, excuse me, I told you that I don't have the money. I'm not going to pay. Okay, so you're refusing to pay, or you can pay? No, I'm not refusing to pay. And it's like, well, you are refusing to pay because you don't want to pay today. So what do you mean? When are you going to pay? I'm not going to pay. I'm like, well, you just said you're not refusing to pay. So, I fucking just go back and forth with them. And I get in trouble sometimes for it because I would go crazy. But, and then, of course, they make up stories too, oh, he harassed my little daughter. It's like, dude, I didn't talk to your daughter. I talked to your wife, and you're trying to tell me that was your daughter now that's 7 years old that sounds like she's 50? Shit like that. And it was tough. Those, I would never do it again. I would never want anybody to do what I gone through. I would never get on the phones again and be a telemarketer or a collector again. I've done it. It's tough. If you're going to do it when you're really young. Don't do it when you're, in your 20s or 30s. Just don't. Don't. It's too much. It's too much stress on your life. Because you have to meet a quota. And if you don't meet that quota, you lose your job. And that's no good. That's no good. That's no good of a feeling, and nobody should have to live like that.
I also like the ones where they try to tell you there's something wrong with your computer.
Oh yeah, you mean the Russians?
Yeah, I love those ones. I always try to tell them that, I lead them along and like, are you staring at your computer? Currently, I'm just sitting there staring.
I know. Well, how stupid do you think I am? I'm going to give you my information.
And when they ask what kind of computer I have, I'm like, oh, it's an Astro Droid. It's dome shaped and white and blue, and I call R2D2.
You're better than me, dude. I never thought of this.
There are people that aren't really speaking English and they're not from here. Usually they get that at that point. Oh, okay, all right, he's making some dumb. But sometimes they're like, oh, I'm not quite sure what you mean, sir. And you can just kind of keep them going. I'm like, yeah, it's a real Astro Droid. I got him on Coruscant.
I had somebody call me.
When I was fighting in the Clone Wars.
You're good. I gotta admit, I didn't think of all those crazy things, and now I know for the future. He called me up one day, this guy from fucking Russia or whatever. He's like, this is Microsoft, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I was like, there's nothing wrong with my computer. He goes, I'm from Microsoft, and I need to help you, and I need your password to get in your computer. It's like, dude, do you really think I'm going to let you into my fucking computer talking to me like that? You think I'm stupid? It's kind of like we had a guy. He looked like Jonathan Silverman, from Weekend at Bernie's. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. He was kind of a heavy-set version of him, and he was one of my supervisors at Crane Products, and I remembered this, so I want to add this really quick. This is hilarious. The guy was telling me, let me get your name and number, and I'll call you back. So my supervisor was like, all right, so go ahead and tell him. Tell him your name is Kermit. I'm like, all right, this is Kermit. He goes, okay, I got it, Kermit. I was like, Kermit D. And he's like, Kermit D. He's like, you fucking asshole. And then click. I was about to say Kermit the Frog. But see, I was young, so I didn't even understand what the fuck I was being told.
Right.
Back then I was like, what do you mean Kermit D? I didn't know he was going to tell me the next last name was Frog. And after I got off the phone, he was like, yeah, you were going to tell him you were Kermit D. Frog. I was like, what? That guy fucking, I think he called back too. I can't remember though.
What else you got for us tonight, Rudy? We want to talk more video games, or we can always just talk telemarketer scams all day, but.
No, there was a couple of things. You might as well add it. I mean, seems like we're on a little bit of a roll here. I don't know, and we might as well just go into it. Make this a double whammy show. Let's talk about car dealerships a little bit. I've been thinking about that, and it's really been bugging the shit out of me. And when you go on the fucking TV and you see a fucking ad with some hot mamacita or white chick or black chick or whatever. And you see them, in their little mini skirts or their little shorts, and they're saying, you come on down here, and you'll get this deal today. Do you really fucking think that that's going to make me want to get up out of my chair because you've got a hot little ass mamacita that's working down there, which she's probably not even there when I get there, okay, who's not even going to sell me the car? So you think...
Yeah, like that chick is a model.
Right.
It's not like they're even saying... It's not like they're like Lady Jane's haircuts for men or something.
Right.
I mean, this is them... It's not them saying, like, hey, we have the hottest car salesman around, too. Come on in and see our, bikini-clad car salesman. No.
you're not making me want to buy a car more. As a matter of fact, it's turning me off from your dealership. So if car dealerships are listening to this, it's a real turnoff when I go to the Mamacita Spanish station or American station and I see some girl, whether she's hot or ugly or whatever, and she's showing off the car and she's bending down and everything else. That's making me not want to come to the dealership because basically you're selling me sex. And if I want sex, I'm going to go get a woman to have sex. I want to buy a car. I don't care what the fucking person looks like that's selling it to me. If I want it...
All right, here's the question, though. Would you say that if they had Melissa McCarthy decked out in a bikini, an extra-large bikini, squatting over, I don't know what kind of cars you like.
I like all kinds of cars.
A Camaro or something.
No, I would go down there to meet her and get her autograph. Same thing with Ashley Graham, who was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, the first BBW model to be on the Sports Illustrated. But I'm not going to buy a car from Melissa McCarthy. That's just not going to happen. So the answer is yes and no. I'll go down there to meet her. I would love to get an autograph picture and get a picture with her, sure. I'll lay right next to her. But the thing is, I'm not going to go down there to buy a car because Melissa McCarthy's got her legs open or, fucking Ashley Graham's got her legs spread, trying to sell me a car. Doesn't work like that, dude. I buy the car because
Graham, so that's like your dream girl, right?
She's one of my dream girls. Yeah, I think if I had to go pick up a girl right now, ideally would be somebody of her size and her build because Ashley Graham works out. She's a large woman, but she's really tight. And I've had girls like that before, but I'm saying if I was going to marry somebody tomorrow, if somebody said, well, okay, we're going to get you the girl of your dreams, tell me what you want her to look like and everything, it would be like a girl that's like Ashley Graham, tall, thick, curvy like that, but, busty, So, yeah, that would be, shit. Everybody's got their preference, dude,
Right on. Right, no, I've seen her. I know what you're talking about. She's cute.
Yeah, she is. She's very big.
She's pretty. I'll be honest. You know what? I was going to say something. I probably shouldn't say
No, say it.
I'll say, I think she's cute. I think she's pretty. I think she's, a good-looking, regular chick. You know what I think would make her, and I know that she's famous for being, the plus-size model or whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you know what I think would make her just a little bit hotter?
What's that?
Losing 30 pounds.
Hey,
That would make her hot.
Well, maybe it would, but she's still going to be 180 pounds.
No, she's cute. She's pretty.
She's still going to be 180.
I think she'd be better if she lost 30 pounds.
You might be right because here I look at it like this. I like medium-sized women too, but let's be honest. I already know the woman's well over 200 pounds because I know my women. Because I've dated women that are large. So I will tell you this. Even if she loses 30 pounds, she's still going to be in the 200 range. So if you think she's going to be hot losing 30 pounds, then that means you like certain BBW women yourself. There you go.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Hey, I'm not...
So that means you'd throw her a shot if she was 30 pounds lighter.
I'm down for...
See? Rudy's not the only one that would fuck a 200-pound woman, folks. You see? There you go. Just depends on the woman. That's all.
Yeah, totes, man. Yeah, hey, just, hey, whatever makes you happy, dude. Whatever floats your boat, whatever gets those world record-breaking fingers, working for you.
But seriously, though, what makes you want to buy a car? I'm sorry, I see these commercials and it makes me not want to buy a car. It's like, dude, number one, right? The salesman that you're going to is not going to be that girl. And if that girl is down there when you get there, she's a sales assistant and she's going to appoint you to somebody else. Somebody that you probably don't even want to fucking deal with. Okay? And then you're going to get really mad. You're not going to want to buy the car and you're going to fucking leave. I think I went to a dealership one time in my whole life where there was actually a really cute, sexy girl. She tried to sell me a car. I didn't buy the car because that wasn't the reason for me to buy the car.
Right.
So...
You know what? I'll just even take it even maybe a step farther than that. Of course, it's ludicrous that you would buy a car because they had a hot chick or a hot dude on the commercial. Silly. Totally silly.
Yeah.
But furthermore, maybe this isn't true. I'm kind of a car guy. I love cars. I'm into cars,
Mm-hmm.
And I would never buy a car from a commercial even because they told me how cool the car is. You're going to go and you got to get this. It's got the new, 6-liter V8 engine. It runs, all this horsepower. It's got leather seats. It's got, I'm not even going to go buy a car because of performance issues from one dealership is just like a Camaro from the other dealership.
That's true.
And a Mustang from one dealership is just like the Mustang at the next dealership. So the only reason to go to dealership X is a good deal.
That's true, but there's also...
Really, truly the only reason. And that's the only thing they need to be selling. Best deals in town, best interest rates, best this, best that, best sales staff will work with you. Bad credit, no credit, okay, great. That's the only thing that I care about at all. Because if you're going to go buy a Buick Regal, I don't know where people up there listening live, but, I live in Detroit metro area. You can't drive 5 miles without seeing 3 Buick dealers and 3 Dodge dealers and 3, so they're out there. Excuse me, sorry about that.
You're all right over there.
They're out there, the dealerships are out there. So, one Jeep Grand Cherokee at one dealership isn't any better than the Jeep Grand Cherokee at the next dealership. You want good service, you want good service selling the car, and you want good service afterwards if you're buying a new car, and you want a good deal. That's it, though.
Well,
that's it. You want to be in and out.
You live in the greater Detroit area where they have everything, where it's the king of cars, basically. Now, let me ask you this, though. See, living in the West Coast for many years now, and of course, used to live East Coast, there's something in the West Coast that we have that I've never seen anywhere else. Now, I have a feeling, though, it's back home where you're at, too, and you just never really cared about it. Aren't there dealerships that have exclusive packages that make you want to buy the car, like exclusive rims only at that dealership, X only, exclusive interior features at that dealership only, exclusive packages, like for instance, Tobin Dodge in Las Vegas has, a chopper edition, and it's the only kind of its kind. It comes from their dealership only. You cannot get that edition anywhere else. You could make it yourself, of course, by adding shit to your car, but you'll never have the chopper edition. That doesn't make you...
I guess that doesn't appeal to me, honestly. I'm not saying that they don't have it here, and that people don't, that it's not sought after, that people don't want it. They definitely have that here, and there's definitely people who are way into it. Like you said, I live in the Motor City, so, cars is our thing here, here in Detroit.
Yeah.
We're all about our cars. So, yeah, for sure, there's, hell, the auto show is here. So, the biggest auto show in the world is in Detroit. But that never appealed to me. I'm not really a bells and whistles kind of guy in a car, honestly. I'm more of like a classic kind of, hey, just like with my video games, I like my retro video games, I like my retro cars. I drive a 96 Ford Mustang.
Interesting. 1996 and still going strong?
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's in great shape.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, great shape.
It's nice.
Leather interior, Mustang GT, big V8. Well, not a big V8 because 96 didn't have the huge V8, but it's the V8, it's the 4.6. Runs good horsepower. It's not a Cobra, but I put some Cobra parts on it.
Do you got the, but the ass of the car is also what matters too. Do you have the ass with the little square lights, which is really hot to me, or do you have the big rectangular long ones that pop, like bubble out in the back?
I think more like that, yeah, like the rectangular one.
Okay, I was going to say, because the ass on the car matters. It really does.
Yeah, it looks good, though, and it's got the bumper when it still used to say Mustang GT.
Interesting. Yeah, because, I got the Dart, and, a lot of people say all the time, they're like, that ass, and I don't say that because I think it's crazy, but the back of the car matters when you're buying a car. If you don't like the way the car looks, it's not going to be appealing, at all.
For sure. No, totally. I'm a big, and like my car, I guess it's loaded for its, it's loaded for its time. It's got power, everything, but I'm not I guess I'm just kind of a hater on new stuff. So I hear it's got a backup camera. I'm like, who the hell needs a backup camera? That's dumb. I'm one of those people that just thinks that the new thing is just always dumb. I don't care about that. I don't want there to be a backup camera. I don't want there to be an onboard computer. school. So like this one's got the CD player and the tape player, because I still listen to tapes.
Nice.
So weird.
No, it's different.
And like it could. I could hook an iPod up through or something, but I don't listen to music that way. I don't. I listen to CDs and cassettes.
Wow.
I'm old school, and I listen to AM radio a lot because I'm weird and old, and that's just that's just how I roll, man. I dig it. And the other thing too is I hate driving automatics.
Wow. I actually.
That'd be a stick.
Wow, I like automatics, and as you know, very few cars now are stick shift anymore. Anyways, it's not.
Right. Yeah.
It's not.
Hard to get. And what I found is in recent years, I can usually get a better deal on. In fact, funny story. When I bought that Mustang, I actually bought that Mustang from a Kia dealership, which, from growing up in Detroit, I don't like foreign cars. I don't like to drive foreign cars. I got family members that work for all three of the big three, so I drive Ford, Chrysler, and Ford, Chrysler, and GM. That's it. That's what I drive because that's what my family works for. That's my bread and butter. I'm not a big union fan per se, but I am a big fan of the big three.
We called it fix or repair daily.
I never drive foreign cars, but so that was kind of paying me to have to even go to a Kia dealership. But I went there for the sole purpose of buying this car because I found it on the internet. So I went and I'm buying my Kia, or go at the Kia dealership. I'm buying my Mustang, and the guy said, "Man, man, I just had this car a little bit ago. It's clean, it's nice. This is a beautiful car. Dude who turned it in was an older dude. Doesn't have a ton of miles. It was just like his toy car that garage kept for years, and it's a real good car.
Wow.
Like I just sat in it, and it's beautiful. He's like, I drove it earlier, and he's like, it's been sitting here for a while because, quite frankly, people just don't drive sticks anymore. It's just not a thing, And so we can't pawn off. He goes, we've had a couple people come in to look at it, and I'm like, oh, it's a stick, never mind. And you're in that situation where you're signing the last bit of paperwork when you're buying a car, and you're always kind of like, oh, you're kind of excited, but you're always like, at least me, because I'm a pessimist, you're always thinking like, all right, what's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong at the last minute that I won't be able to get this car?
Of course.
And so I'm like signed up, I'm ready to go. Guy's like, all right, I'm gonna call the back, man, bring your car up. I'm like, sounds good, man. I'm here, I'm waiting. He gets a phone call. The phone rings at his desk. Picks up the phone. He's like, are you kidding me? Come on, guys. And I'm like, oh man, what went wrong? I'm not getting this car after all. Like crap.
So what happened?
And he hangs up the phone. He's like, man, I gotta get back. I gotta go back there. I'll be right back. I'm like, what's wrong? Is there a problem with getting the car? He's like, oh no, you're getting the car. I was like, you sure? What's the problem? He's like, man, this sounds stupid, but I'm the only person in this entire dealership that knows how to drive a stick, and they need me to drive the car up for you. Like, really?
Yeah, that pisses me off because
car dealership, nobody knows how to drive a stick.
I couldn't get fucking jobs because of that.
Kind of weird. I'm like, so it was like sigh of relief for me. I'm like, all right, whatever, that's goofy, but hey, that's cool. So I was thinking I wasn't gonna get the car, but sure enough, he drove up with it.
Well, what I hate is when you go to a dealership too, and I'm sure you've had this too, and this is something else that makes me want to fucking walk out. Like when you call up and they say they got tons of cars, you gotta come down and pick it out and everything. You know the people, you've been there before or whatever. You go down there, they don't have the fucking color you want. They don't have the color interior you want, and then they go, well, what don't you like besides the color? I'll give you a good deal on it. Dude, if I don't like the fucking color of the car, I'm not gonna fucking buy the car, you idiot.
Right.
You know?
Maybe it's a used car, but if you're buying a new car, you want your color. Period. You want your color, interior, exterior, everything.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. If you don't like the color, you're not going to buy the car. And that pissed me off. I mean, he was really trying to push this car on me. It was like a burgundy color. I'm like, dude, I don't like fucking burgundy. He goes, what else don't you like besides the color? Or what else do you like? I'm like, I don't like anything about this car.
Yeah, I either like everything or I don't like everything.
Yeah.
I'm picky in that same way, Rudy, but I'm actually really boring too. Because when I've gone to buy a new car, when I'm going to buy a used car, I typically just do whatever. But hey, I'm pretty eclectic too, man. I've driven some of the nastiest hoopties that have ever been out there, and then I've had some pretty nice cars too. So I've been up and down. I've been around. But when I go to buy a new car, I always tell them the same thing right away. I'm like, listen, I'm really picky, but I'm really boring. The only color I like is black. So if the car's not black, don't show it to me.
Yep, white, blue, or orange.
I really like black cars. That's what I want. I want my car, like Henry Ford. Any color you want, as long as it's black.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I've had some other ones. Like I had a crazy Jeep Wrangler for a while. It was like camo painted.
Yeah.
that was a fun vehicle to drive around in. It just almost never had the top up on it. That was fun, but that was like ugly by design almost, So I didn't care that one wasn't black, but
when your tape
Mustang, I've had a bunch of Grand Prix. I always had to be black.
When your tape fucks up in your car, do you still use a fucking pencil to try to fix it? And do you fast forward to your favorite song over and over again?
I have not used a pencil on this particular car. It seems to the tape deck seems to work pretty good.
Well, you're lucky then.
But I've definitely done the pencil trick though.
Dude, it's fucking horrible.
I've definitely done the pencil trick. Definitely have them stuck. I had one. I had old. It was a Dodge Daytona. I don't know if you remember those or not. It was a really cool looking car with the pop up headlights.
Yeah, I remember the car. I don't remember the features, but I remember the car.
Yeah, they were cool cars. Real quick too. It was a turbocharged back when that was like kind of first being the hotness was the turbochargers, which you would roach out that engine so bad. But it was kind of fun too because it was quick. It was really quick. I actually used to eat up like Mustangs and Camaros with that car, and it looked like it was giving me nothing. It was like the Millennium Falcon. Doesn't look like much of the guy that word count.
I had
but that thing, I had a tape stuck into the tape deck of that car for like 5 months.
Yeah, crazy.
And the worst thing is, the only way you could turn the radio on was by ejecting the tape. So I couldn't listen to the radio. I couldn't do anything. I had to listen to that tape. And the worst part is, the tape was a B-52's tape.
Oh my god. Yeah, and I know that group.
I believe it was good stuff, but no, good. It was the full album that Love Shack was on.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's good, but I don't want to be listening to that every goddamn day.
Oh no, it was terrible. It was terrible. Truthfully, the only halfway decent song on there was Love Shack, and you get sick of that pretty damn quick.
Yeah, and Rome was good. Vacation was okay too.
Rome. That was cool. That song. Yeah. Rome was a really good song. But yeah, it was. You know what, dude? Now that I think about it, it might have even been like a B-52's greatest hits.
Oh, okay.
Tape, but still, you get sick of the B-52's pretty.
Dude, if Frank Sinatra was locked into your fucking tape player, you'd want to take it out after a while. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. And no matter what it was, but I was like, really, man, of all the things to get stuck in your tape player, it's B-52's. And then I finally got it out, but when I got it out, I wrecked the tape player.
Yeah, and I remember those days.
It got to the point where I was just like, all right, today's the day, it's coming out. Grab a pair of pliers and, yanked it out, but it was no more big 52's tape and no more tape player.
I got another crazy story to tell you. My first car that I had was a 1976 Ford Granada that my brother Al gave me. And
that's pretty old.
Yeah, I got that in 1995 I got it. And
so that was already a 20-year-old car.
Yeah, 95 or 96 he gave it to me. And one night I wanted to fuck with this guy that was down the street. He was being a dick. So he was like, well, you could take out his bushes or whatever. And he told me to go ahead and do it. So it was a little bit rainy, but nothing serious. And I fucking went down to the office building to go take out his bushes. And the fucking car ended up fucking skidding into the side fucking building, and then we drove off, and then the fucking car, it didn't have no sports suspension or anything, so I panicked, and I fucking put the gas on, and they were like, Rudy, and the fucking car was like, fishtailing all over the fucking place. So I came home the next day, and my brother was like, what the fuck happened to the car? I said, I don't know. He goes, oh, maybe the guy down the street, after you took out the bushes, maybe he put a hammer to it or something. Next thing you know, he caught on. He was like, asshole, you did this to the fucking car. So he took the keys away from me, but then it got really funny. He's up under the hood one night. He's like, asshole, you broke a shock. You broke a shock in the fucking car. And I said, how do you break a shock? And now I'm a teenager, so I'm like, I'm not that stupid. I'm like, what do you mean I broke a shock? So later on, he showed me that I broke the driving shaft. The fucking thing in the middle, this big fucking yellow thing. I don't know what is this? What's the driving shaft? What the fuck is that?
The drive shaft links the motor to basically links the tram to the wheels.
Yeah, I don't know, something with the steering wheel thing. He told me I broke it. He showed me. It was like,
I'm sure that car was rear wheel drive, so it would have had it's like, remember in the old cars. Well, this is kind of a different thing. I'm not a mechanic, but remember in the old cars when, you had the bucket, the bench seats in front, and there was that big hump,
yeah,
like in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you notice like cars don't have that anymore?
Yeah, I never knew what that was. What is that?
That's because the old cars were rear-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
And so that it's that linkage that is, hooking up there and bringing it back to the rear tires, or rear wheels. But since most cars, like sedans, like that, are not front-wheel drive,
Mm-hmm.
you don't see that they're driving from the front wheels.
I think the dumbest thing too is when the fucking motor's in the back and the fucking trunk is in the front of the car. I mean, that's just
Those
fucking.
cars can be really good in the snow.
Yeah, but
Believe it or not, if you have a rear engine, rear drive car,
yeah,
like the old Volkswagen Beetles, not the new, like new HFU ones, the old HFU ones from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Those were rear engine, rear drive, and they say they were just really great.
I mean, they might be really good, but I'm just thinking like how bad it could be if I get into an accident and I have all that shit in the front of my car. Remember, it's not like a safety thing where there's things holding that luggage and stuff in place. If I get crashed into, that stuff could come back at me,
Well, what they claim is too, and this was the problem with the Corvair, and this is remember Ralph Nader?
Yeah.
Tea Party?
Yeah.
He made his name for himself back in the day because he was, he spoke out against General Motors and mainly against the Corvair. He wrote the book Unsafe at Any Speed.
Huh.
And that was a rear drive car or a rear engine car. And supposedly when if you got rear-ended driving that car, the thing would just blow up.
You were also, though, if you remember, Ralph Nader, though, was like against auto, period. I mean, he never owned a car, never drove one, or something like that. Yeah, never had a license. So he was very anti-auto for some reason. But a lot of people thought he would have been great.
That's how he made a name for himself, was being, very much against cars, which is why we here in Detroit typically hate the dude.
How the fuck did he become a politician? How the hell did he become anything without being able to get anywhere? How did he get everywhere? Walk?
And that's the thing when people say they're like anti-cars. Like, I'm sure he still rode cars all the time. He just didn't drive them.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know that for sure. I don't know that much. Whatever I knew about Ralph Nader, I've probably forgotten most of it because, let's face it, he was kind of forgettable.
Yeah, well, a lot of people liked him as far as they thought he would have been a good president because of his independence, but they said, oh, we wouldn't have roads or cars. And I said, well, then that's no good.
Well, do you know what one of my problems with Ralph Nader is?
What's that?
I acted like, oh, he's a third-party candidate, right? He's for the Green Party. He's for all this stuff. Truth is about Ralph Nader, though, he didn't want to be a third-party candidate. He started the Green Party because he was a narcissist.
Oh, okay.
He wanted... If it were up to Ralph Nader, he'd have been running for president on the Democratic ticket. But the Democrats wanted nothing to do with that clown. So then he starts his own party. Oh, I'll start my own party. I'll start the Green Party. Okay, he gets this little movement going. But, he runs on the Green Party twice. And then the Green Party, which is starting to, move a little bit, says, hey, Ralph, you're not getting it done for us. We're going to run somebody else on the Green Party ticket. You're getting old. So what does he do? He abandons the Green Party and runs as an independent.
Wow.
I mean, that's crap. The guy had no loyalty at all. It was all about him. If he really believed what the Green Party was selling, he'd have supported the Green Party candidate.
Well, you know me, I believe that
third
third...
Reform Party ticket,
Yeah.
which was Ross Perot's old party, which really had nothing, was nothing like him. Ross Perot ran on it. Donald Trump ran on the Reform Party ticket, actually.
Well, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that.
The very first time he ran, and Pat Buchanan was another one.
I think what's funny about all that is that, me, I always call the third party candidate a puppet, and I really believe that Ralph Nader was a puppet for sure. I don't think Perot was. I think he was the real deal, but I really believe a lot of these other third party candidates are definitely puppets. Like Bob Barr, and there was a bunch of them. I remember back in 2004 and 2008, there was a lot of weird independent, green, purple, green/party candidates running from libertarian to everything. I mean, you're a libertarian because you're Gary Johnson, so you must know about Barr, right? Couple elections back.
I didn't vote for him. And hey, I'm a small L libertarian.
Oh, okay.
My ideology is libertarian. I'm a staunch libertarian, but I'm a small L libertarian. I am more libertarian than Gary Johnson was. Although Gary Johnson is a big L libertarian because he's part of the party.
I see.
And I'm not. Same with William Weld. I like William Weld better than I like Gary Johnson, but I'm more libertarian than both of those guys. Hell, Rand Paul is actually more libertarian than both those guys, but he's not a libertarian or a member of the Libertarian Party. He's a Republican. Right.
That's true.
But Rudy, you got anything else? We should probably, to make sure for files-based ways, we should probably think about wrapping up this show. Anything else you want to throw out there real quick?
I just want everybody to know it's only been 30 days and Donald Trump's already cut our deficit by $12 billion in 30 fucking days. 30 days, $12 billion is off our deficit. You take that month after month.
Let me ask you a question real quick about Trump. It's okay. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, of course.
Do you have a problem with his use of executive orders? Because I had a problem with it when Obama did it, and I have a problem with it now. That's not a party thing. It's not even about it.
No.
You have, even if you like what the executive orders did, do you have at least a little bit of a problem with him issuing executive orders the way he has?
I'll be honest with you, I don't, and here's why. Number one, I like the executive orders he's doing, but also keep in mind, because of Congress and even some people in his own party are trying to stop him from doing things, he's got no choice to executive order, because you've got assholes that even if he's doing something good, dude, it could be an act of God, and they'll try to stop him. So he has to do an executive order. In my opinion, he has no choice, because they try to stop anything he does. Dude, he could do a thing where he give me and you a big refund tomorrow, and they'll try to stop it. So, yes.
Roosevelt said the same thing about Obama's executive orders.
Yeah, but Obama's executive orders were no fucking good, and we obviously learned that Obama was, more for Middle Eastern and just trying to run this country into the ground. This guy's just trying to do work for us, man, and trying to make us safe and trying to secure our friggin' borders and get people the hell out of here before it's too late. I don't see what he's doing wrong. But again, it's all a matter of perception. I mean, I get your point. You don't agree with what he's doing, but I like what he's doing. I'm totally behind him.
I just disagree with the methodology.
Yeah.
I'm not even disagreeing with. I'm not even disagreeing with the outcome at this point. Like I said before, Donald Trump is my president. I did not vote for him. I'm not crazy about it, but he's got his 100 days, and for those first 100 days, I will support him. I will do my very best to support him for those first 100 days. After that, I will support him when I can. I will oppose him when I must.
And that's fine.
But hopefully I'll be supporting him more often than not. We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know. I kind of doubt it, knowing me, because I'm an ornery jerk. But, we'll see.
I'll wrap it up with this. I'll tell you this much, okay? He could come into a fucking video game arcade tomorrow, naked, and say he hates video games and video gamers, and I'm still going to support him. Because that's what his fucking belief is, that's fine. I don't care. If he does his job and fixes our problems in this country and fixes the nation, I don't give a shit what he says. I don't care if he goes on a fucking 5-day golfing vacation, okay? He's not living off his wife or living off Section 8 or living off the Affordable Health Care Act while his wife goes to work, and he does nothing. So he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
No, and actually, it doesn't. The golf vacations do not bother me. They did not bother me when Barack Obama did them either. I was not a Barack Obama fan, but I did defend him. Honestly, listen, every president takes vacations. They all use Air Force One for their personal gains. Just get over it. Who cares? It's a silly thing to complain about. It really is. That's the only thing that annoys me about it is when a Republican president does it. The Dems get all butthurt because my God, he's wasting our taxpayer dollars.
But he's not. He uses his own fucking money. He uses his own money, and we don't pay him.
The president, the Republicans say the exact same thing and get just as butthurt.
Well, he's using.
That just drives me nuts. I can't stand.
But Josh, remember too, he's using his own fucking money. He's not getting any salary. He's saving us so much money by just that alone. And keep in mind too, he refused to take the Air Force One, the new Air Force One. He said that we can get another plane cheaper, or of course fix the one that they have. You know, a lot of people don't see those little things that Donald Trump has been trying to do, and we.
No, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. And hey, him not taking the salary, that's more of a ceremonial thing. That's cool that he's doing it. I don't care either way. Truth is, the president's salary, the president's underpaid. Truth be told, the president's very underpaid, and quite frankly, it's a drop in the bucket. It doesn't change it.
Well, you get $400,000 a year though for life after you retire, so it's.
With our national debt and what everything's going on, paying or not paying the president is like somebody sneaking into your house, stealing 3 pennies from underneath your dresser. That
Yeah, for me and you.
Knowing about it, it doesn't even matter. It's worthless.
You're right. I mean, for me and you, it's worthless.
I don't mind. It's cool. But it's ceremonial. You know, it's ceremonial. It's just something to say, like, hey, I'm not taking it, or
Yeah.
I'm sure technically it's still taken, but he's converting it to a charity or something, which that's awesome. Great, good for him.
Yeah, he's taking $1 because he has to by law. But what I like too is keep in mind though, presidents, you say they're underpaid, but they get paid $400,000 a year after they're gone too. So that's kind of fucking crazy if you ask me. I don't think
that doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me.
Really, $400,000 a year after you leave. Well, then they're not underpaid, then, dude.
$400,000. Okay, how many living ex-presidents we got right now? Oh, we got Carter, we got Bush, and we got Clinton.
Well, there's been rumors that Bush died, but I don't know.
1.6 million.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and Obama now.
But that's per year, though, dude. Remember that.
$2 million a year.
I know, but it's per year,
Take
man.
care of the president. But truth is, I mean, $2 million a year is nothing. We're talking our national debt's trillions.
No, I know. I'm just saying every dollar helps, is what I was trying to say.
But hey, there is reason to pay them, and there is reason to have Secret Service.
$400 a year?
These guys know. Excuse me, sorry, everybody. They're statesmen. You know, hey, whatever. If that money keeps them out of our hair, the PRX presidents we got rolling out right now, I'm glad they're just gone. I hope they go retire on it.
Yeah. No, for sure, man, you know. But,
hey, we should definitely run. Well, you know, hopefully this won't be too big of a file for later consumption. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the Houslander and Ferretti Hour. I know this is a little bit different show. Hope you guys dug it. We just wanted to just do something a little different and just kind of talk about a little bit of everything. And, you know, we do a show that was a little bit video game centric. The next one we do will probably be back to mostly video games.
Probably. Yeah, it was a great show.
I hope you guys dug this one. If not, if it was too much for you, hey, well, you know, we'll be back to our regular, regular antics.
And let us know, you know, don't just watch the show, make a comment.
Absolutely.
We don't care what you say.
If you guys thought, like, hey, that one was funny, you know, we like it when you guys talk about crazy stuff or different stuff, do it. And if you guys say, hey, Josh and Rudy, we don't want to hear about your crap, you know, talk about video games. Say that too, that's cool, you know, hey, we want to know the truth from everybody. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Yep.
We do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Rudy Ferretti.
We'll see you next time.
Have a good night.